Do you remember the lyrics, uh, Baby It's Cold Outside? You know that song where the lyrics say, I really can't stay, but baby, it's cold outside. No, no, I've got to go away, but baby, it's cold outside. Yeah. This time of year can be dangerous if we're lonely and we need some company and all of that. This is the time of year where we could get caught up. And tonight, we're going to talk about oxytocin and relationships. You ready? Let's go.
Let's talk about.
Welcome, 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 welcome to Let's Talk About It with Wanda. Here we talk about mind, body, and the spirit, relationships, healthcare, hair care, religion, and so much more. But tonight we are going to talk about relationships. That's right. Now, listen, if you got any little children in the room, you might want to let them go in the other room and watch Disney Plus or something because we're going to have a real grown folks conversation tonight. Tonight, we're talking about oxytocin and relationships. And I have the phenomenal Dr. Matthis with us tonight. So you know it's going to be good. So listen, before we even get started, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, share, and make a comment. All right. And if you're on Facebook,
Mhm.
I want you to like the page, love it if you have to. I appreciate it if you would. And share this one because, child, this one going to be good. Share this one on your page, share it in your stories. Look, if you're on YouTube, share it to your family, to your friends. Share it to that person that you know this time of year, they always lose it because they lonely and they start getting caught up in um, situationships. You know, they get caught up in them situationships usually this time of year. Now, that ain't always a girl, that's a guy too. You know, them ones that can't commit, but then they get caught up in this relationship because it's a little cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside, but I gotta go away. But baby, it's cold outside, right? Tonight, we're gonna talk about it. So, listen, you might want to get you some popcorn for this one. Now, I'll let Dr. Mathis introduce herself while you go get you some chips or some Oreos or some popcorn because, baby, you're going to need it for this one. It's going to be a good one. Grab your husband, grab your friend, grab a neighbor, grab your sister, grab your uncle, grab them, tell them to come on. Wanda is on. Let's talk about it with Wanda is on. This one is fire. Dr. Mathis, I'm so happy you're here. Please introduce yourself to the audience because it might be somebody here that doesn't know you.
Oh, that's true. It could be. So I am Dr. Mathis. I am a published author. I am a speaker. I am a mentor, a coach. I do counseling, spiritual counseling therapy for those that are spiritual, want counseling in regards to relationship, not just relationship with God, and not just anything, but just relationship with God, not any old thing, but relationship with God. So I do that for individuals, for couples, for groups. I also do what we call the state and church. There are individuals who are looking for counseling and therapy to support them in their lives and try to figure out how to navigate through certain things. So I do that as well. I've been doing it for quite some time and love what I do. I am also a pastor, and I just been ordained recently as an apostle. My apostle is none other than Apostle Lita Reeves. And I am here, right here in Pittsburgh, California. Pastor is Pastor David Dotson. And I'm excited. I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a grandmother. And for many of you that do not know, Wanda is my goddaughter. So if you hear her say mom, it is no level of disrespect. She's just Wanda. She's my daughter, but I am Dr. Matthis. I am degreed, if you want to call it. I have my bachelor's degree. I have my doctorate degree. I have my master's degree, and I'm still looking for some more degrees because I love school, love learning, and I do teach mental health first aid to the community in regards to what it looks like, because it's still stigmatization, especially among the church, especially among African Americans. So I do a lot within the community, and I love every aspect of it that I do. I do have my goddaughter Wanda and my other daughters that complain because I am always so very busy, but they kind of learn how to navigate and figure out how to get in there and get their time in. I am a teacher at heart. I love to teach. I teach Bible study online on Wednesdays. I teach outside of Wednesdays. I just love what I do. And most importantly, I love giving back what Yahweh himself has given me to do this assignment in this last hour. So Wanda, back to you. I can go on and on, but I'll get back to you, baby.
So as you see, you guys, she is well equipped, very, very well equipped to talk about this subject tonight. And we're talking about this subject because it's something that's very dear to Dr. Matt's heart.
Yes.
In the field that she's in, she sees the aftermath of the effects of this oxytocin in relationships. So, Dr. Mathis, I'm here for all the smoke tonight. We ready? We ready? Let's talk about it. Let's go, Dr. Mathis.
Let's talk about it. When we talked about, I think you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Oxytocin, for the most part, is the culprit outside of human nature and humanity and how we respond and how we act. It's a culprit that really causes issues for many of us in situationships, or that situation or circumstance that we're in, circumstantial ships, as you will. Situationships, circumstantial ships. It's a ship, and it's not a ship that's made for many of us. We just get in the ship and we don't know how we got in there. We want out. But oxytocin is something that many of us do not know. The first time that I had the opportunity to share what oxytocin is, and in a nutshell, from the medical perspective or from the human anatomy, oxytocin is that particular juice in our body, that particular gene that flows through our bodies, that particular aspect of who we are as women for the most part, where you wonder, if you ever wonder, how is it that a child comes out and knows how to latch on to mom's breast without being taught, without being coached, without being shown? They don't have to go through those 6 week, the baby doesn't have to go through those 6 week training about how to latch on to mommy so that you can get your milk or you're going to starve to death. But they come right out and they're looking for that breast. They're looking for that space, that place to latch on, and they find it and they latch on, and they know the difference between that, which is Similac with iron, not with iron, and any other milk or powder that they make. The child most often doesn't want it. They want what has been created for them, and that is mom's breast milk. But they learn how to latch on really, really quick. And that is what connects mom and child together. That oxytocin that flows through our veins, that flows through our body, is what helps us to have a relationship, so to speak, or connectivity with child with mom, mom with child. And it flows through our body from the moment that we are in the concept of pregnancy. We begin to learn and to grow with one another. There's a connectivity. There is a wide, long, sure, foundational connectivity that mom has with child because of the oxytocin. That oxytocin is what helps the child to survive when they come outside of the mom's womb, because they know how to latch on to her breast. That oxytocin is what helps to keep the baby alive, because the baby knows how to get the breast milk from mom by way of that particular flowing of the gene, or flowing of the chemistry that flows to the body, that chemical makeup, which is oxytocin. It is what causes that child to love mom and for mom to love the child. It is that oxytocin that causes mom and baby to be connected and to be so connected and so tightly wound together until baby doesn't want to be interrupted from mom and mom doesn't want to be interrupted from baby. It's that particular chemistry that flows through our body. So it is a wonderful thing. It is the best thing that could happen. It is something that teaches mom and child how to bond, how to be on the same page together, how to be connected. But on the other aspect, on the flip side of that, it could be a detrimental damage to us when it comes to man and woman because oxytocin, the touch that mom feels, you notice that when the child is first born, before there are any clothing or anything, the nurse that's there in the room, the team, they take the baby and put the baby right on top of mom's chest. And the baby lies there and the baby becomes comfortable. The baby may go to sleep because they had a hard time coming through the birth canal because it really hurts and it's hard work, not just for mom, but for the baby. And so they're tired and they relax because they have a connectivity with mom. Listen, so that same connectivity that we receive, that we have with our child, is the same connectivity on the other side of the fence that happens whenever men and women are connected together. That first kiss, the oxytocin level rises up to the roof because now I want more of that. Whatever it was that I was feeling about him, whatever it was I was feeling about her, oh, I need more of that. I have to have that. Now it becomes a habit. And for many, it becomes more than a habit. It becomes an addiction. Did you hear what I said? It becomes an addiction. And it's an addiction that many of us do not even know that we have or that has begun to take place with us, but yet it is there and it begins to formulate and it begins to just magnify or grow. And sometimes it spins totally out of control for many of us. And we don't know what it is, but it's simply oxytocin. It could cause us to act in a manner that we never knew that we could act. It could cause us to be jealous and bitter. It could cause us to be so connected to that person until we will chase them down the street, running behind them like somebody has lost their minds. We will call their phone 30 times in 2 minutes. Are you hearing me? That oxytocin can be a detrimental damage for many of us. Oxytocin, and when we have that touch, that feeling, because human beings are made to be connected to one another. And when we have that touch from him or from her, when we have that hug, when we have that kiss on the cheek or that tongue kissing, don't y'all, if y'all got children, Minister Wanda, my daughter's already warned you, take the babies out because, this is what we do. And that tongue kissing happens. And then there's the oxytocin and it just explodes. And it's an explosion that brings one out of their mind. The first time you had sex with them. That's why our teens and even some of our adults are literally acting as if they lost their mind because that oxytocin has stepped in, entered in, and now we're all up in arms because we can't have nobody but him, her, or for many that like to do other stuff, they are them, but the oxytocin is real. But somehow we seem to overlook it or seem to think that we just don't need it. But oxytocin is what causes problems for many of us. It will cause you to take a bath and bust out a window. It will cause you to put sugar in the tank. It will cause you to walk away from your husbands, from your wives, from your family. I know a man who walked away from his family. They've been married 20 some years and they had 8 children. And because not only the oxytocin had the woman all up in arms and she had to have him, she decided to go see the woman down the street that liked to put curses on people. And she did just that. And so this brother walked away from because of a curse and oxytocin. Are you hearing me? So it's a deep thing. Relationships. But when oxytocin is involved, it's not a relationship. It's a situational ship. It's a circumstantial ship. It's not really a relationship. It can't be a relationship because 2 consenting adults didn't happen or 2 consenting individuals didn't happen. So it's not really a relationship, but it's just a situational ship, a circumstantial ship. If you hear me, daughter, you writing down some stuff over there. You had a question.
Yeah. So this oxytocin that is created and beneficial for mom and baby.
Mm-hmm.
The oxytocin in that environment is necessary for mom and baby to bond. It is very necessary, very beneficial, very powerful, and very much needed. Then when you have 2 people and this oxytocin is involved, then can go from being beneficial. Now we got a problem. This oxytocin, like you said, can where it becomes not. It starts off a habit, but then turns into an addiction.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas a person becomes addicted to
Mm-hmm.
that. Wow, and and oxytocin can cause you to be jealous over this.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
oxytocin can cause you to become bitter over this
Mm-hmm.
individual. This
Mm-hmm.
oxytocin can cause you to become cray cray, that kind that, like you
Mm-hmm.
tell us all the time,
Yeah.
will burn down your house and
Yes.
drag you out and
What
say,
do I say about that? Mm-hmm.
because I love you.
That's
You
what I say. Right.
that's oxytocin. That oxytocin can trick you. That oxytocin can uh it
Mm-hmm.
bamboozle you. That oxytocin will make
Mm-hmm.
you think that's what I was writing down.
Mm-hmm.
Make you think it's a relationship.
And it's not.
And it's not, it's a situationship.
It's a situationship. Now let's be clear now that oxytocin chemistry are chemicals that flow through our bodies, that flows through our blood veins. Men also have it, but the level that they have is not as deep, is not as much as the level of oxytocin that we as women have. And we have a greater amount of oxytocin that flows through our bodies because we are moms. We have a womb. And in that womb is what we call DNA memory foam. Somebody needs to write that down. In our wombs as women, we have what is known as DNA memory foam, meaning that we have the ability to remember feelings and emotions and thoughts that go along with meeting that person that we become so invested and interested in. Men have a level of oxytocin, but because they do not have wombs as we do as women, they do not have that ability to hold that information, to hold those emotions and those feelings that we do as women. This is why, as women, we're able to go and bust out all the windows. We're able to go and set a house on fire and leave everyone else in there and drag him out and say, baby, I saved you, so you owe me a relationship. We don't know it's not a relationship. It's a situational ship. So I saved you. I will pump life back into your body by doing CPR, but I'm not worried about anyone else. I'll let the dog, the cats, the birds, and everything else burn along in that house with everyone else. But I have to have you because the information that goes into from brain to womb says, I have to have you. I need you. I've eliminated everything else that could be problematic, but I still have you because of oxytocin. Oxytocin will cause me as a woman to do everything I can to keep that relationship. Even when I say, I'm mad at you, I hate you, I don't want you anymore. But I'll call you 32 times in 1 minute and 29 seconds. Are you all hearing me? And so when we look at this, we don't realize that what we need and what we want and what we should have as simple, safe, and healthy relationships turns so much of a way in a corner, if you will, or turns the corner to be everything but that. But because we've operated in a mindset and we functioned in a manner for so long in situational ships and boat ships and every other ship except for relationship, we do not realize that we need to stop, take a breather, and relax. Because we would go from one situation ship to another situation ship to another situation ship. And we don't want to hear what anyone has to say. I need to have him. Or I need to have her. I need to have this person in my life. Nothing else matters. I don't care. I know. The last one, it didn't go so well. I have to have him or I have to have her. It's going to work this time because it'll be better this time.
Okay.
That's not
That's a
the way it
perfect
is.
place for this question. Then.
Okay.
Um, Michelle Grice says, is oxytocin considered a spirit or can it be considered a spirit?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's be clear. And that's a good question. Good place for the question, because that's exactly what happens. The very thing that God, Yahweh Himself, created within us, within our actual human anatomy, to be a part of who we are as individuals, now becomes a spirit that Satan, the certified crazy one, has utilized for his own plan and purpose, for his own will. He's utilized it to become or to be a spirit that cannot be contained within the human anatomy. That spirit goes from one person to the next. Let me put it to you like this. Some time ago, maybe about a few years back, someone put up on Facebook, a social media, showed a woman and her body. And in her body, when you open it up, all these skulls and all these different aspects of the body. You remember that one? Come rolling out of the body, just come falling out. Because there's so many of them in there. And they're all in there just really tight. And when you open her up, they just fall out all over the place. Because it's too many. Because each time that we hug him, each time that we hug her, each time that we kiss him or we kiss her, each time that we tongue kiss, that we kiss on the lips, each time that we interact with that person, we are connecting ourselves or allowing ourselves to be connected to someone or something that is uniquely different from who we really are as an individual. It is a spirit. And that spirit cannot be contained because there's so much going on the inside of our womb until stuff starts falling out. And so now, because things are falling out, that spirit is now coming forth because it can no longer be contained or held within the womb. Are you all hearing me? See, this is some deep stuff that we take lightly. And as a therapist, as a counselor, it bothers me. When I say it bothers me that as people, as individuals, we're not able to see this, nor can we navigate through this. Let me say that again. We can't see it, nor are we able to navigate through it because we can't see it. So we can't navigate through something that we don't see. But yet it's right there in our wounds, but we refuse to even take a look at it because we're too busy trying to figure out what's wrong. When Yahweh Himself is giving us the answer, but we need the answer according to our will, according to what we think it is, according to what we think we should be doing, how we should be doing it. But we don't give Yahweh a chance to give us an answer. Are you all hear me?
But
This
why don't we
agitation is
see it?
real.
Why
Go
don't we
ahead.
see it? Why don't we see it?
We don't want to. Why should I want to see something that is going to cut into my life and take away my ability, so to speak, to be with him, to be with her, to be with they or them? Why should I want that to be interrupted when I'm enjoying myself so much? I've been hurt. I know what it feels like to be hurt. I've been disappointed. I've been bamboozled. I've been all these things, but I gotta have him. He smells good. He looks good. Y'all ready for this? And it tastes good. I said it. See, the problem with us as a church, as a people, we don't want to tell the truth about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And for the most part, many of us, if not all of us, we don't want to talk about going down on him, going down on her. See, I told you this is not for babies. So if you can't handle it, then you need to get up and go home. Let's get off the video. Because we're talking about some things that have been a very detriment against us and against our ability to walk according to God's divine plan and will for us. And the enemy loves for us to be in the place and the positions that we are in. And so because we are stuck in these places and positions, we're never able to guesstimate how we're going to get out and what we're going to do to get out of that place or those places. Those are positions that oxytocin begins to flow. We're here at this water level, oxytocin, and we're feeling him. We really like him. We can't stop thinking about him. God, you have to let me know when we're running out of time. Because this stuff can take the four parts to it all by itself.
Yeah, we good. We're gonna do part one tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Amen.
again, let me stop and do a station identification.
Amen.
We want to thank you for joining us tonight for Let's Talk About It with Wanda. And tonight we are talking about oxytocin and relationships. Listen, we meet here every Sunday at 4 p.m. We were a little later tonight because we had to pray. It's been a busy day, you guys. But we
Mhm.
meet every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here live on Facebook and YouTube. And as you see the ticker taking all of that, and thank you for Leslie saying that if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell so that
Yes.
you are notified every time we go live. We don't want you
Yes.
to miss any pertinent information that can be changing your life forever. And so again,
Amen.
share this with somebody because
Hmm.
have an adult conversation. So
Yes.
if you have any young ones in the room, you might want to send them to the other room because we're talking about something that is necessary. We're talking about
Hmm.
something that you see a lot of time of year that
Hmm.
people get themselves caught up in these situationships because
Hmm.
um, people have lost loved ones this time of
Yes.
year, so they're vulnerable. It's holiday times when
Yes.
people are with their families and they're
Hmm.
alone, and then somebody sees them out. They see the vulnerability on them, and they go, "Here's a sucker. I got this one." You know, and they can wrap this one up, and then you wrap up the wrong one, and that oxytocin takes off, and she is cray cray. But you didn't know
Mm.
that because you
Yes.
just saw the vulnerability in her,
Yes.
or you really did like her, and she
Mm.
said hello, and then you didn't know you was talking to somebody that was, you know. So these conversations need to be had because
Absolutely.
this is the time of year where we get
Absolutely.
ourselves wrapped up in
Hmm. Hmm.
relationships. So,
Hmm.
Dr. Mathis, please continue.
Amen. Amen. And they do happen, and we need to talk about them and discuss them because they need to be shared. People need support. People need support surrounding them in regards to this because it's so much. And we talk about the ability to be able to recognize how we can be ensnared, so to speak, and how we can become stuck in this place and position that the enemy, Satan, the certified crazy one, would like for us to be stuck in, and we don't know how to find our way out. And we find ourselves in these positions and placements. Is now, what do I do to get out of this? Because I never meant to be here. But my emotions are all over the place now. I can't explain how my wound became so attached to him or to her, to they, to them, because I never thought that I would feel this way. I never thought that I would be this way. But yet, here you are, looking at me, looking at you. Here we are. And how do I get out of this? Because I didn't expect to come to the kitchen in my life, so to speak, and just down in there trying to figure out how did I get here? Nobody told me I was going to be here. Because as someone told me yesterday that I would be here today, I would have told them they are out of their minds. And I'm not going to do this or be this way or share in this manner. But here we are. Here we are. The oxytocin is a beast. So going back again to what I said earlier, when we talk about looking in the hospital when the mom first has the child, and that child is placed on mom's chest, and that child is at your mercy, that child is looking to you for support, and lying there resting up on your chest, and you are none the wiser that someday something is going to be different about you and about this oxytocin. When your womb is open and when things are open, situations and circumstances are open, and you find yourself at a detrimental state, you're just trying to figure out what to do with the situation and circumstances. And you wish you could have done something differently. But no, This is what I have, and this is what I have to work with. How am I going to work with this? See, the enemy of your soul knows where you are in your life right now when oxytocin begins to kick in. The enemy knows that you need to do something differently, but you can't. So you're just trying to hold on and navigate through this. But how do you navigate through this, Wanda? What would be your first thought process?
To navigate through it.
How would you navigate through it?
I would need the word, honestly. I, that's
hmm
the way I can navigate through it. I like what you said, though. You need support. You,
Absolutely. And that's why I
um,
asked the
my,
question.
my first thing is to say, or you know, um, I don't want to always. That's just me. That's who I am. I don't want to always be so, spiritual. It is the truth, but like you said,
hmm
honestly, you need support, and I'm not going. We're going to have to do a part two. I don't want to hold you long because I can tell. I know you. I know
hmm
your voice in your throat. Um,
hmm
and of course, because this is a subject that needs to be
Absolutely.
out,
Absolutely.
spiritually, we're going to have warfare. Um,
Yes.
People don't like to say that, but of course, in the enemy evil does not want you to get this out. So then, I've been talking. She's been talking all day. We were talking before we started and prayed. She was not having problems breathing or coughing or anything. So I'm not going to have you talk long. We are going to come back next week. So you guys mark your calendars and make sure you come back. But I do want to ask you something really quickly,
hmm
or whenever you can come back, Mom. Really want to
hmm
ask you something really quickly.
hmm
And those of you that can pray, please pray. Um,
hmm
this this situationship, this thing with this oxytocin that
hmm
realizes is in the woman. This
hmm
isn't just this isn't um put on. That's not the word I'm looking for, but limited to
hmm
single. It's
hmm
not limited to singles. This
Oh,
can happen to even people that are married. Uh,
yes.
because it is a spirit and it sees leeway, it sees opening, and this can happen to someone in a marriage and find themselves in a situation.
Yes. hmm And I'm glad that you said that. And thank you so much for understanding. And we do apologize. And I love to share about this. But for the next 10 minutes, I want to share this part aspect of it. When you think about the oxytocin and how it can be, how it can affect us in our relationships, and specifically those of us that are married, that are engaged, that are in relationships, we have a husband, we have a individual that is very important in our lives, that they really, really matter to us, and that we also know to put them first and foremost in our lives. The problem with that is that the enemy will always enter in to try to strive his way and just push and shove to get into our lives. And as I was sharing earlier, is that when we have this child, or some of us have twins, that comes into our lives, and we try to make sure that we keep them at a space and a place where there's no interruption in relationship. But the interruption comes by way of the oxytocin interrupting how we feel and how we respond and interact. For each kiss, the level of oxytocin goes up. For each hand that is held, for each hug that we receive, that oxytocin level, it goes up and it bursts out at the seams in a place, in a position that it should be in. And oftentimes we do not realize right away how much we are affected by a true relationship, and not just a relationship that should be normal. We are now interacting with the enemy, the certified crazy one, if you will, that comes against our souls and our minds. He comes to interrupt our peace, to interrupt our ability to do things according to the divine will and plan of Yahweh Himself. He wants us to be interrupted. He wants everything to turn around and turn upside down, because if He can do that, He affects the family. He affects and he interrupts the whole dynamics that comes along with that, or with this, so to speak. He comes in and he causes us to have a pause. I'm pausing right here. I'm pausing, and abnormality is there. I'm pausing here because I am not able to see or to move forward with the things that God has planned and purposed for us, for me, for her, for him, for they, for them. I messed up everything, so to speak, because I know what I've done. But yet here I am, just in la la land, because I don't want any relationship to be healthy. I don't want him or her or they or them to be happy. I just want to interrupt, just pause everything that's peaceful, everything that's a lively situation and circumstance. I stop right here. Pause, pause, pause. And now we're stuck. And we don't even really know there's a pause. We don't know that he's been paused or she's been paused. We just know that there's a pause. There's an interruption. There's an interruption that is so individually wrapped until we are just crying and we're just upset and we do not recognize it because we are the ones who have allowed and made that interruption, that pause. Not by the way that we've done it before, but it's just a pause. The oxytocin, everything that was in here, all the emotions that we were feeling or that we felt or that we've looked at or that we've focused on, now that is thrown out of the window. It's what we say, throw out the baby with the bathwater and everything else, and that is all. And so now the whole family dynamic that was totally built on the truth of God, the truth of Yahweh's word, has been dismantled, just messed up, and we don't even know it. That is how you know that oxytocin can be a spirit. Did I explain that good? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you explained that well. That's wow. Yeah,
That makes sense.
that makes sense.
And many people don't know that in a nutshell, that is a spirit. And we miss that spirit. When we take baby, we place baby on the chest and we act like we know what's going on, but we do not. And we lay that baby across our chest, across our breast top. In our lives, we don't even recognize it. And we don't even recognize how displeased Yahweh is because we're so happy. Are you all getting what I'm saying?
How displeased Yahweh is.
Mama make it koroboshete. How
Because we're
displeased.
so happy. Ah,
Ekorabase.
ah,
Ekorabasi.
caught up,
Yededebasi.
bamboozled,
Hoodwinked.
wrapped up, tied up, tangled
Yes.
up. We have
Yes.
hallelujah,
Yes.
no idea how displeased Yahweh.
Mm. And we miss it. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts my heart. It is why I really push to share this oxytocin information with those of us that are in the body of Christ, those of us that say that we are believers, those of us that say that we are walking this thing and we're walking upright and that we're doing what we need to do, what we should be doing, but we don't want to because it's really not all that bad. It's not all that deep, it's just a little bitty thing. My dear brothers and sisters, we are in trouble in a manner like we've never known before. And the enemy of our souls, the enemy of our lives, the enemy that comes against us, that tries to do everything he can to annihilate us and destroy us, he would come in through the front door and we come in through the back door and they come in through the side door. But we're so relaxed so that we think that we have merely a passenger or passengers and that we have time and we can do this. We have time. We have time, but we don't have time. So oxytocin is not your friend. Oxytocin is not your buddy. Oxytocin is not is not your star of your show. Oxytocin is it. It is a level without trying. That is your assignment. That is your rolling level.
Wow.
So when we think about it, as we're going forth, daughter Wanda, you want to think about, I want people to think about what this oxytocin really, really looks like as we're moving on with our lives and how it really does detrimental damage, hallelujah, to our lives, how it does detrimental damage to our personhood, and how it does detrimental damage to the relationships that we have with others, and that we are not at a loss, so to speak. But the enemy of our soul, Satan, the certified crazy one, has put us in a position in a place, if you will, to make us feel as if we are losers, but yet we are not. We literally are winners, but we have to know how to navigate through the oxytocin. We have to know how to navigate through our souls being attacked by the enemy of our souls. We have to know how to navigate through this situation and circumstance that causes us to be in a place, in a position where we have no patience and we have no ideologies of the difference between relationship and that there lacks thereof. Because what we think is a relationship is not. It's not. It's not.
It's a
It's not a
situation.
relationship.
Mm,
It's
it's
not
a
a relationship.
situation. Yeah.
Ooh, it's
Wow.
not. Mm-mm.
Listen. This is good, but I don't want you to keep going, y'all. You gonna have to come back. You're
Gotta come
gonna have
back.
to come back. I don't want her to strain herself anymore trying to continue to teach us. This is powerful. It's gonna take her a few times to teach this. Just take this, share it with somebody, and like she just said,
Yes.
realize that we need to be able to recognize
Show
when
up. Show
this
out.
is happening, when the enemy of your soul is using this tactic of
Absolutely.
oxytocin to
Yes.
utterly destroy, because that's the end result. It's a slippery slope to hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's a slippery slope to hellfire. And the problem is that we don't know what it looks like. We don't know how to recognize it. And that's why we're here tonight, because I know all of us know somebody that every time of the year, same time of the year, they get a new boo. And then by Valentine's Day, after Valentine's Day, it's all broke up. Right? This time of the year, up until after February 14th, it's crazy. You know somebody. I know you know somebody, and this is the information you need, because, like she said,
Mm-hmm.
people need support. They don't know what's going on. They have
Right.
no idea why they are like this every
Right.
single time of the year, and
Mm-hmm.
why they keep getting caught up in these situationships that they think are relationships, but it's literally an attack of the enemy for your soul. He
Mm.
is after your soul. He cares
Yes.
nothing about you. And so anything, he knows what you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
anything that he can use to take you down that slippery slope to hellfire, that's what he's going to use. And so we want you to share this video with somebody. We
Yeah.
are going to be praying for Dr. Mathis. Yahweh
Thank
Rapha
you.
is her healer. We're just going to hold her. I'm going to allow her to get some rest, because she's preached this morning. She's had clients all day. And
Yes.
this message is important, and we going to get it out. As the people used to say, the devil is a lie. Yes.
The devil is a lie. Amen.
I said he a lie, and he's smoking crack in somebody's situation. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Somebody that's in a situation, he in their kitchen smoking crack. That's what it is.
All the crack.
And so he won't win. He won't.
Jesus.
We will get this message out. And so, you guys, I want to thank you
Mm.
for joining us. Be here with us
Thank
next
you.
week.
Hallelujah.
Even though this one was short, it's still powerful, power packed with information. We
Mm-hmm.
will be here next Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
Try to be on time, but sometimes things happen. But we're here regardless. We have a charge, and that is to get information out to the people who need it. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to thank you for joining us. Everybody that is here, I thank you for being here with us. Please continue to be here with us. We need you. We could talk all day long, but
Yes.
it's nothing if you aren't here with us. So again, Dr. Matthis, thank you. Yahweh Rapha is your healer.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to get some rest. And we will see you next Sunday at 4 p.m. Standard Time. Have a wonderful week. And until then, we're going to say shalom. Take care and good night.
Good night.